Hello, Joe here from INFINITI of Tacoma. Today I'm going to do a comprehensive video comparing the 2019 QX50 to the 2017 QX50. We've just got the 2019 QX50 in our lot not too long ago, and you might be curious what happened to the 2018 QX50. Well, when INFINITI redesigned the QX50, they skipped the model year, so they went right to 2019 instead of having a 2018 model. There are a lot of differences between the 2017 QX50 and the 2019 one, and you might be curious which one is better for you. For some people, the 2017 QX50 or the older version of the QX50 might be a better choice depending on your driving characteristics and your needs, while for some of you, the 2019 might be a better fit for you. Clearly, the 2019 is going to have more modern styling and technology, where the 2017 is a little bit dated, and that's why INFINITI really needed to redesign it. The 2017 QX50 really hasn't changed that much since it first came to the US shores as a 2008 model. Back then it was called the EX35. INFINITI revamped all their model lines in 2014, so they changed the name from the EX to the QX50. Other than that, aside from getting a bigger engine and a longer wheelbase, there really hasn't been very many changes on the QX50, the older one. As far as dimensions go, the 2019 QX50 really isn't that much bigger than the older one. It is a little bit wider, but where the magic happens is in the interior space. You'll notice when you sit inside the interior of the 2019, it's going to feel a lot more spacious. It's going to feel bigger than the older version. And a big part of that is platforms. So on the older version of the QX50, it was based on a rear-wheel drive platform, which is great for performance, but the thing with a rear-wheel drive platform, you have to have a drive shaft go through basically the middle of the vehicle, and that takes up interior space. Where the 2019 QX50 is now based on a front-wheel drive platform, that works a lot better for packaging the vehicle in a relatively small package, but allowing a lot of interior space because you don't have to have that same drive shaft going through the center of the vehicle. It is available in all-wheel drive, but the way the all-wheel drive system is designed, it takes up a lot less interior space on the QX50. I'm 6'2". You can see I still have plenty of interior space. Another great thing about the 2019 QX50 is that the rear seats, they actually slide back and forth. They also recline. They do recline on the 2017 and older models, but they do not slide back and forth. You can see you have a completely new redesigned cabin. It looks a lot more modern, a lot more fresh than the QX50, the older QX50, the 2017 and older ones, which feels a lot more dated. Engines. A big difference between the old QX50 and the new QX50 is the engine. For 2019, INFINITI has equipped the QX50 with a variable compression, 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. INFINITI has been working a long time on this variable compression design. In fact, they are the first car company to offer a production version of the variable compression engine. It can mechanically change the compression ratio on the engine to maximize the engine for horsepower or for fuel economy. So for instance, if you're cruising around 30-40 miles an hour, you're not going to need a lot of horsepower, so the compression ratio is going to change toward a more fuel efficient type setting. Versus if you're on the highway and you want to merge on the highway, or you want to pass someone, or you just want to accelerate really quickly, it can mechanically change the compression ratio to make maximum horsepower. And it does it very quickly. It's almost seamless when you drive one of these things, how quickly it can change that compression ratio. The 2-liter variable compression engine makes 268 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. Going to the older QX50, it has the venerable VQ series engine. It really is an amazing engine. They've been making it a long time. It's won lots of awards. It's actually still used in 2018 and 2019 products. If you are in the market for INFINITI's flagship sedan, the Q70, this is the same exact engine that's still used in it. It's a great engine. It's very reliable. I've seen INFINITIs coming on trade with 200-300,000 miles with variations of these engines still running strong. It's designed to have a service life of 300,000 miles as a maintenance-free timing chain, so you don't have to worry about the cost of replacement of timing belts. The variable compression engine also has timing chains as well. So this is a proven engine. It has a long track record of reliability, or this is a brand new engine design, so it doesn't have that track record. So that's something to take into consideration too. Obviously, when you buy a brand new car, it's backed by a long warranty. This one has a 6-year, 70,000 mile warranty on the engine and transmission. And if you buy a car from a new Infiniti or a certified pre-owned Infiniti from us at INFINITI of Tacoma, we actually give all of them lifetime powertrain warranties. So really, if you buy at least one from us, there's probably a little worry about having issues with this new engine design, because if it does have any issues, it's going to be covered most likely under the warranty that we provide with you. The VQ37 engine makes 328 horsepower, and I believe it's 267 pound-feet of torque, whereas you have 268 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque with a variable compression engine. But the thing is, in the real world, you know, horsepower is what's touted on the advertisements, but in the real world, torque is what translates into acceleration. The torque gets you going, horsepower keeps you going. So with 280 pound-feet of torque, this QX50 makes more torque than the 3.7 liter V6, which makes about 267 pound-feet of torque. So acceleration wise, you're not really going to notice a huge difference as far as performance goes. When you get into maybe going like 130, 140 miles per hour, which most people aren't going to do, maybe the QX50 has an edge. But thinking about the fuel economy rating that you get with the new engine in the QX50 versus the fuel economy rating that you have on the older QX50, the new variable compression engine is a much better proposition. You know, on the highway, this has an EPA rating about 24, 25 miles per gallon, where this new engine has the EPA rating on the highway of right around 30 miles per gallon. So it's going to get much better fuel economy, and performance-wise, it's going to be pretty similar as far as acceleration goes to the old 3.7. Platforms. Another big difference between the brand new QX50 and the older QX50 is the platform. The old QX50, 2017 and older, is built on the advanced front midship platform, which is a rear-wheel drive platform used in Nissan Z series cars, the 350Z, 370Z. This platform is also used like in the G37 Coupe, G37 Sedan. It's used in the new Q50, the Q60 Coupe. It's used in the Q70 Sedan. It was used in the older QX70. So it's a sports car platform. So when you go on a racetrack or you're talking about performance driving, the front midship platform is going to have a little bit more of an advantage over the new FF platform that we have on the QX50. But most people who buy these vehicles aren't going to go on the racetrack, they're not going to drive fast. So the reason why they switched to the FF platform, which is a front wheel drive platform on the 2019 QX50, is packaging. The 2019 QX50, as I mentioned before, because it's based on a front wheel drive platform, it's going to allow more space inside the vehicle. Without as big as a drive shaft going through the center of the vehicle, it's going to allow for more interior space. Another difference is with a front wheel drive platform, you're able to actually put the transmission next to the engine instead of behind it. So that frees up a lot of space on the inside. With the older QX50, since it's on a rear wheel drive platform, the transmission needs to be behind the engine, and that takes up more interior space. Another big difference between the 2019 QX50 and the 2017 and older is a transmission. The 2019 features a CVT transmission. CVT stands for continuously variable transmission. Nissan, Infiniti's parent company, has invested a lot of money into developing CVT transmissions. Almost all the Nissan products that you can buy, aside from the Z car and the trucks, all have continuously variable transmissions. The Maxima, the Murano, the Altima, the Sentra, the Versa, they all have CVT transmissions. A CVT transmission is kind of complicated to explain how it works, but it has a cone-shaped pulley, and it has a steel belt that goes around that pulley, and the steel belt, depending on the driving situation, will go up and down that cone-shaped pulley, and that's how it's able to vary the different gear ratios. Instead of having 7 fixed gears like the regular QX50, or not the regular, but the older QX50, it is able to offer a lot more gear ratios than a conventional transmission of 5, 6, or 7 fixed gear ratios. So depending on the type of driving you're doing, if you're looking for acceleration, you're going up a hill, you're towing, the CVT transmission can adapt to a lot of different driving situations, and that's why Nissan, our parent company, has invested a lot of research and development into the CVT transmission. From a performance standpoint, some people might like a regular automatic transmission because the way the CVT transmission behaves is a little bit more different. You'll notice when you drive a CVT equipped vehicle that when you step on the gas, the RPMs are going to probably stay in one spot, and then it's just going to gradually gain speed. You're not going to feel that shift change that you do of a conventional transmission. And for some people, especially from a performance driving standpoint, some people prefer to have that feel of that gear change. It's kind of a performance driving thing. It does have a sport mode, and it has they call it a D-step setting for the CVT transmission, where it can kind of imitate that shift shock that you get from changing gears in a regular transmission. Even though that's not really gonna make it perform any better, it does feel a little bit more sporty. So if you do like that feeling, you still can get that shift changing feeling in this CVT transmission, even though it's not a real shift change. It's just kind of electronic wizardry. And of course you get a lot of great more modern features in the newer QX50. Sitting inside the older QX50 and looking at the 7-speed automatic transmission, a great transmission used in a lot of Infiniti products. It's still used in 2019 Infiniti products. You might be wondering, this is a great transmission, why didn't they just use this one in the 2019 QX50? Well, it all comes down to packaging. This 7-speed automatic transmission is developed for rear-wheel drive based vehicles. Since the new 2019 QX50 is based on a front-wheel drive platform, this transmission is not compatible. So that's why they had to use the CVT transmission, which is designed for a lot of front-wheel drive products that we have in the Infiniti lineup, like the QX60, and also that same CVT transmission is also used in a lot of front-wheel drive based products in our parent company Nissan, like the Murano, the Altima, and the Maxima. So that's the simple reason why they have a CVT in the 19 QX50 instead of a 7-speed automatic. The interior is very functional. You have a great infotainment system, but on the older QX50, the navigation screen is very small. You also have a backup camera and a round view monitor. Great features. Infiniti actually was one of the first companies to come out with this overhead camera, but the screen's a lot smaller and a lot more dated looking than on the 2019. Steering wheel, again, older design. This is the same steering wheel that you could get in the 2008 QX50. It's also same steering wheel that they used in the 2007 G35. Very comfortable, but you can definitely feel the interior is a little bit more crimped, a little bit smaller than when sitting in the QX50. It feels like you're in a larger vehicle on the inside, or on the outside, they're very similar as far as size goes. The 2019 QX50 being one of our newest models, obviously it's a very fresh design, so the interior design is cutting edge, very beautiful, very functional. You have a bigger screen, better resolution, and instead of having one screen on the old QX50, you have a dual display system. This top screen is for the navigation and for the parking camera. The bottom screen is for vehicle settings and using Infiniti's infotainment system. You have Infiniti connection, so there's apps that you can download. You can connect it with your phone. You have drive mode selectors, so you can personalize settings for your driving style. And as far as features and technology goes too, you're going to have a lot more choices on the 2019 QX50. Direct adaptive steering. That's another difference between the 2019 QX50 versus the 2017 and older ones. You could not get direct adaptive steering on the older QX50s. It became available for the 2019 model year. We first saw direct adaptive steering, also known as DAS, which is the acronym for it, on the 2014 Q50. With the direct adaptive steering, there is no mechanical connection between the steering wheel and the front wheels. It's all handled by electric motors and computers. Why would they want to do this? Well, there's many reasons. One great reason is that you can take a lot of control over the feel of the steering. You can personalize the steering settings for performance or for more luxury or leisurely type driving. You can change the weight of the steering. You can make the steering weight heavier and sharper, kind of like a race car or a high performance car, or you can make it a little bit more lighter and leisurely, like a luxury car. Another great thing about the direct adaptive steering is it helps take out annoying feedback that you might not want to get while driving. For instance, you might hit a pothole, you might hit a rut in the road, where if you do that, it will jerk the steering wheel. Will direct adaptive steering, since there's no mechanical connection, it's not going to jerk the steering wheel. So what Infiniti is trying to do is they want to give you the information and feel that you're looking for in the steering wheel, and kind of weed out the type of information that you don't. The big benefit of this system is to help reduce driver fatigue, and the direct adaptive steering pairs very nicely with Infiniti's Pro Pilot system available on the QX50, which is a combination of adaptive cruise control that it goes all the way down to a complete stop, and lane keep assist will actually make small steering changes on the highway. So light curves around the highway, it will actually steer the vehicle for you. So it limits the amount of driving input that you have to do as far as steering goes, and completely takes away the braking and acceleration that you have to do in stop and go traffic. So if you drive a lot on the highways, the Pro Pilot system available on the 2019 QX50 that gives you the direct adaptive steering and the lane keep assist, and the full intelligent cruise control that operates from 0 to 90 miles per hour. It really is a great system and great for battling driver fatigue. Alright, we're going to go for a little drive in the 2017 QX50, and then we'll go for a drive in the 2019 QX50, just to compare a little bit of the differences between the two. So the driving position is pretty comfortable in the 2017 QX50. I'm 6'2", I have plenty of headroom, I feel very comfortable, great visibility around the whole vehicle. You may notice that the 2017 or old style of the QX50 is a little bit louder. There's a little bit more soundproofing. They did a little bit better job isolating, vibrations and exterior noises. There's not as much road noise on the 2019 QX50. So if you're looking for a quieter vehicle, the 2019 QX50 is going to definitely be quieter than the older QX50, the old version. And here we have heated seats on the new 2019 QX50. You have the option of heated seats as well. You also have the option of heated and cooled front seats, as well as the option of heated rear seats. You cannot get heated cooled front seats or heated rear seats on the old QX50. There's that great sound of that VQ37 engine. Great acceleration. It's a powerful engine. It's a performance engine used in a lot of performance vehicles in the Infiniti lineup. as well as the Nissan 370Z. It's a little bit more coarser. It's not as smooth as the new variable compression engine that you have in the 2019 QX50. You also have a manual shift mode. You can put it in sport mode, and then you can take control of gear changes as well. It provides rev match downshifts for a sportier sounding feel and smoother downshifts when you do have it in manual mode. And one thing I like about the manual mode in the Q on the Infinitis as well as the QX50 is that it keeps you in that gear, where some vehicles that have a manual mode, it will actually shift gears for you when you hit the RPM, where this one will just bounce off the rev limiter, so it's almost like you have a real manual transmission. That's the one thing I don't like about some of those. Like, what's the point of having manual transmission mode if the car is just going to decide to shift for you anyways? People who really want to use these in performance applications, I think that they rather have it, you know, stay in the gear that they choose, not let the vehicle decide when they have it in manual mode. As far as drivetrain configurations go, the 2017 or older QX50 is either available in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. When you do have the intelligent all-wheel drive, under normal driving conditions like right now, it's going to send 100% of the power to the rear wheels. The reason why they do that is that gives you better fuel economy. It gives you the feel of a rear-wheel drive performance car, and it helps a little bit with premature tire wear. But as soon as you put the gas down, or you hit slippery conditions, if those rear wheels start to slip in a matter of milliseconds, it can send up to 50% of the power to the front wheels. On the 2019 QX50, the intelligent all-wheel drive operates in a similar way, except it's opposite, because the 2019 QX50 is based on a front-wheel drive platform that's going to send 100% of the power to the front wheels under normal driving conditions, but when those front wheels start to slip, then it will send up to 50% of the power to the rear wheels. It's a very composed vehicle. It's very fun to drive. Speaking about the 2017 and older QX50, so if you're a performance driving enthusiast, you might gravitate a little bit more towards the driving feel of the 2017 and older QX50. Since it's based on a sports car platform, it's going to be a little bit more sporty than a 2019. All right, we're now driving the 2019 QX50. One thing that you might notice too on the 2019 QX50 is that you have a drive mode selector. So you have different driving settings. You have Eco, Standard, Sport, and Personal. So that will make changes to the steering feel, the way the transmission behaves, the throttle response. You did not have a drive mode selector in the older 2017 and older QX50. The 2019 QX50, driving the 2017 back-to-back, you can definitely tell this one is a lot quieter. There's a lot less road noise. There's a lot less noise from the outside coming into the interior. So it's a much more quiet place, which most people would expect in a luxury vehicle. So both the older QX50 and the new one has a push-button start. You'll notice on the 2019 the start button is right here, where on the older ones the start button is right on the dashboard where you'd find the ignition on most vehicles. One cool thing about the 2019 is with the start-stop button, if you just shut it off, it automatically puts the vehicle in park for you. Or you had that mechanical gear changer in the older QX50, so you have to put it in park and then shut it off. So that's kind of a nicer feature that you got on the 2019. The interior definitely feels a lot more spacious. You don't feel as cramped in the 2019 as you do in the older QX50. And obviously going to have a different sound. This is a 4-cylinder where you have a 6-cylinder in the older QX50. From a performance standpoint, the V6 might sound a little bit better to some people, where the 4-cylinder is going to sound a little bit different, but it still makes very good power with that 280 pound-feet of torque, and with the variable compression, it's going to give you a lot better fuel economy in everyday driving than you get in the older QX50. The handling feels very responsive and very crisp on the 2019 QX50. When you get to the point of really performance driving, high performance driving, pushing the vehicle hard, you're probably going to have a little bit better feel on the older QX50 because it's based on a sports car platform. When you really start pushing this vehicle hard, you'll start hitting the limitations that you get with a front-wheel drive vehicle or a front-wheel drive based platform. This one is all-wheel drive, but as I mentioned before, it's a front-wheel drive bias platform. I'm 6'2". Interior space is great on the older one, but I definitely feel a little bit more comfortable in the 2019. I don't feel as cramped and claustrophobic in the 2019 as I do in the 2017 QX50. Acceleration is still great in the 2019 QX50. Feels just about the same to me as the older 2017 QX50. Possibly that one might be a little bit quicker, but from the seat of my pants, I don't feel a huge difference. Passing power, you step on the gas, you get really good response. So when you want to pass a car or merge on the highway, it definitely delivers up that power to let you do so. I have it in sport mode, so even though this is a continuously variable transmission, it's going to give me simulated gear ratios versus, you have 7 real gear ratios in the old 2017 QX50. The reason why they do those simulated gear ratios, it really doesn't improve performance, but it just gives you more of a sportier feel. Most people during performance driving, they like to feel that shift change, that gear shift change. Another big difference between the 2019 QX50 and the older one is where they're built. The older QX50s, 2017 and older, were built in Japan, built and assembled in Japan. Great craftsmanship from the INFINITI plants in Japan. INFINITI has, INFINITI, I guess INFINITI too, but Japan has a reputation for great build quality. That's a big reason why a lot of people are drawn to Japanese brands, is that reliability and longevity. The 2019 QX50 is built in North America in a Mexico plant, a new plant that INFINITI has co-developed with Mercedes. And just because some vehicles built in Mexico isn't necessarily a bad thing, it doesn't mean it's not built well. Like I said, INFINITI made this new plant in partnership with Mercedes, and Mercedes, obviously, craftsmanship, build quality is very important to them as well. Driving the vehicles back to back, pretty much the 2019 QX50 is superior in every way. Maybe the 2017 has a little bit of edge in performance and performance driving situations when you really push that older QX50 design harder, built on that rural drive based sports car platform. It's going to maybe perform a little bit better. It's going to be a little bit more fun to drive. Other than that, if you're kind of deciding on the older QX50 or the newer one, really the only other difference would be price. Obviously the 2017s and older ones are going to be in the pre-owned market, so pre-owned cars are going to be cheaper than a new car. If there are some leftover 2017s still on INFINITI lots, which I'm sure there are. Obviously they'll have a lot steeper discounts on those as well. But if price isn't the number one factor for you, features, technology, space, driving dynamics, the 2019 QX50 is superior just about in every way.